Hello there. I hope this past week was kind to you and brought you little pockets of energy that you can use for making some beautiful art with me today. And there's something very beautiful about a glowing candle, especially at this festive time of year. And as we go, I'll share lots of useful time and energy saving tips, so look out for the blue banners on screen. To save ourselves some time and energy, we're going to pre-mix our colors. So we'll start by mixing some yellow into our white, and then we can add more white to make a lighter yellow. That would be useful for the glow around the candle. Then we need to get some of our yellow and our red, mix that together to make a nice orangey color, a dark orange, and we can add more yellow to make a lighter orange. These are just a few useful colors that might help us in our painting. And we'll take some red and some raw umber to make a nice dark color for the background. Once we've got these few colors, we can always add to it as we go along, but this will give us a head start, and it will also save us time having to stop and mix colors as we go along. Now that our palette's ready, we can start sketching. So I'm going to dilute some raw umber, just with a little medium, and I'm just going to make a very simple outline that will help us in the painting process later on. So we're using toned paper today because this is a small study, and we'll just keep our shapes nice and simple, a nice cylindrical shape for the candle, just some basic outlines to follow. Small studies like this one are an efficient way to experiment with different techniques and colors before committing them to a canvas. And you also have the option of turning it into a greeting card, maybe for someone special this Christmas, or even framing it and giving it to someone as a gift. Now that we have our sketch ready, we can start blocking in the colors. So we're going to take our light yellow, and we're just going to block in the entire candle with the light yellow. Now we can start adding some orange to our candle, and we'll start at the bottom and work our way up. We're not going to go to the top of the candle because it's lighter at the top, nearer to the flame, and it's darker towards the bottom, so we can add a darker orange at the bottom of the candle. Now I'm going to take a soft, clean, dry brush, and I'm just going to blend those colors gently together. We don't want any harsh lines, especially on the outside of the cylinder, because we want to give the illusion that it's turning towards the back. So we're going to soften out those lines, and then we can add a darker reddish orange towards the very bottom of the candle. Okay, we're going to put in the light parts of the candle now. So that's a very light yellow. It's not white, just a very light yellow. We're going to save the white for the candle flame, and then we can fill in the flame with the pure white. Now we can take some of our light yellow and add some to the bottom of the flame, and we'll paint almost like a halo around the flame with the light yellow too. Now the glow of a candle starts light near the flame and it gets darker as it moves away from the flame. So we can add, around the halo, we can add a darker yellow, then an orange, and then a reddish color. Now our candle's not glowing yet, but it will glow as soon as we add the dark parts on. So we can add some just raw umber to the table, just to make the tabletop, and then we'll put our very dark color around the candle, and that will help it to glow. Apologies for the tape falling off today. There's something wrong with this tape. I thought I'd be fancy and use some nice glittery tape for this Christmassy themed artwork today, but it's really not playing its part. Now that we've put the darkest areas in, our candle's looking a bit more glowing. But there's one more trick we need to do to make it look even more realistic. We're going to take a soft, clean, dry brush and we're going to very gently blend those halos around the candle into the dark background. And be careful with the blending, we don't want to mix the colors, you just want them to fade gently into each other. And you might have to keep wiping your brush in between so that the colors don't become contaminated. Isn't it very satisfying to see that beautiful realistic glow appearing? It's amazing what a little bit of blending can do. Now that our candle is glowing so beautifully and realistically, we can do something similar with the background. We can take a soft, clean, dry brush and we can gently maybe work some of those lines that are distracting us from the candle. You can maybe blend them more gently into your background. We want the focus to be on the candle and not the area around it. Once our background's all finished, we can take some of that dark color and add a little bit of a candle wick into the middle of the candle and at the bottom of the flame. We can also just tidy up some of the lines if they've got blurred with all that blending. Now we can take a nice thick blob of white and add it to our candle flame, most starting at the top and working our way down because we want the brightest color to be at the top. And that will really make our candle shine. We can also add a little bit of pale yellow, light yellow to the sides just to indicate that they're catching the light from the flame on the sides of the candle as well. I'll also add some to the front of the candle, and while I've got that color on the brush, I can work some circles into that wet background. This will give us like a bokeh effect, and it will indicate that there's lights or something sparkly in the background. It just adds a festive touch to our candle picture. We're just about finished. The only thing we've got left to do, two more things. We're going to add a little shadow, so we're going to put a darker line under the candle. We can use the same dark color that we used for our background for this, and we can just draw a line under the candle and then work some darker area in front of it to indicate a shadow. And as you can see, I'm still struggling with the sticky tape. Oh dear. One last flourish is just to dilute some of that lighter color paint with some medium, and using a dry brush just sprinkle it on, and then a quick tidy up just to finish it off. There we go. And if you've been following along with me, you'll have a beautiful, warm, realistic candle. Well done. Thank you so much for watching and for following along and for subscribing. If you're feeling inspired, you might want to try these tutorials too. and I'll see you in the next video.